Okay, we are back. We are in camp, and we're gonna make our rounds and talk to everybody and get to know everybody, and who knows, that might end up being this whole episode is just story building, character building. Let's see. Okay, we have been with Alistair and Morgan the longest, so let's start with them.
What do you need?
I'm not going to read the numbers because eventually we're going to go through everything pretty much anyway, so we're just going to talk. Do you want to talk about Duncan?
You don't have to do that. I know you didn't know him as long as I did.
And yes, Barkspawn will bark over your conversations the whole time. It's kind of funny. Okay. You don't have to do that. I know you didn't know him as long as I did. Okay, she's gonna say, I just thought you might need to talk.
I should have handled it better. Duncan warned me right from the beginning that this could happen. Any of us could die in battle. I shouldn't have lost it, not when so much is riding on us, not with the Blight and everything. I'm sorry.
There's no need to apologize.
I'd like to have a proper funeral for him. Maybe once this is all done, if we're still alive. I don't think he had any family to speak of.
He had you.
I suppose he did. It probably sounds stupid, but part of me wishes I was with him, in the battle. I feel like I abandoned him.
These I'll read. 1. No, I understand completely. 2. He saved your life by sending you to the tower. 3. Yes, that's stupid. You'd be dead. He saved your life by sending you to the tower.
Yes. I know. I think he came from Hyeva, or so he said. Maybe I'll go up there sometime. See about putting up something in his honor. I don't know. The Dalish don't practice cremation, do they? How do your people honor your dead?
We bury them and plant a tree over their remains.
That sounds quite beautiful. Life springing from death. Thank you. Really, I mean it. It was good to talk about it, at least a little.
Maybe I'll go to High-Ever with you when you go.
I'd like that. So would he, I think.
Alistair approves +4. So, that was just obviously a short little conversation, but in my canon, her and Alistair, before we got to this point with all these extra people, when it's her, Alistair, and Morgan, her and Alistair would talk about Duncan. She would ask about him, because obviously she could tell that Alistair was upset, so she would try to get him just to tell him fun stories about the Grey Wardens in general, because she just wanted to know about the Grey Wardens and Duncan and all that stuff. And also because she lost Tamlin, so she was like, look, I just lost somebody too, and I don't know exactly what you're going through, but I know a little. I don't have my family, I don't have Tamlin. You're out here on your own, you don't have your Grey Warden brothers with you, you don't have Duncan, like, we gotta get through this, and we have each other, so let's just talk one way or another, whether we're not necessarily have to be talk about our fifis and our feelings, but like, tell me a funny story, or tell me, talk about something. So that's how they started off getting to know each other. Okay, now she's gonna go talk to Morgan.
What do you wish of me?
I'd like to ask you something.
If you must.
How did you become a shape changer?
I was not born such. 'Tis a skill of Flemeth's, taught over many years in the wilds. The chastened have tales of we witches, saying that we assume the forms of creatures to watch them from hiding. When a child is alone and separate from his tribe, that is when we strike, dragging the young boy kicking and screaming to our lair to be devoured. A most amusing legend.
Your mother has been doing this for a long time, then.
Changing her form, certainly. Devouring lost children, I cannot say. She has not done it in my experience, though in truth my lifespan is but a fraction of her own. Why do you ask? Is there something specific you wish to know?
Can you change into other human forms as well?
The form of an animal is different from my own. One may study the creature, learn to move as it does, think as it does. In time, this allows one to become as it is. I gain nothing by studying another human. I already am the same as they are. I learn nothing. So the answer is no, my human form is the only one I possess.
Can anyone become a shape changer?
Anyone with sufficient will. But the act of transformation is a magical one. 'Tis a spell and thus requires a mage's talents. If you had a notion to learn such a skill for yourself, sadly, you must remain disappointed.
Do you spend a lot of time as an animal?
There were nights when the wilds called to me, 'tis true. You look upon the world around you and you think you know it well. I have smelled it as a wolf, listened as a cat, prowled shadows that you never dreamed existed. But my life is as a human. I am under no illusions to the contrary.
There have been Dalish keepers who use similar magic.
Oh? Then I have no doubt your people do much to keep their talents well hidden from humans. I wonder if I was to ask one of your keepers of the origin of their magics, if there would be any relation to what I was taught.
1, we don't know much about our origins, I'm afraid. 2, I doubt they would be willing to tell you much. 3, that would be intriguing, wouldn't it? We don't know much about our origins, I'm afraid.
Ah, this makes sense according to what I know of the elves. Alas.
That's all I wanted to ask.
Indeed. Have you an opinion on my abilities, then? Am I an unnatural abomination to be put to the torch?
I think your abilities sound quite useful.
A most practical opinion. Far more so than any man I have spoken to. But enough of such talk. Let us proceed, lest the dust gather on us.
Morgan approves, +4. Okay, so here's where we are with magic. And what Ariel thinks. So, the Dalish are taught that elves all used to possess magic. And that was lost. So, I don't know if you guys can hear the traffic outside. I had to open my door and put a fan on. It is so hot. Sorry. I really hope I can cut that sound out. So, in her view, anybody can do magic. It is not something that you have to be born with. It is not, like, something to be frightened of, or a quote-unquote special ability. She thinks that there are some people that have it as a more innate ability, but she's like, she doesn't quite think that it was lost necessarily, but that there's like a blockage or something, and she thinks that everybody can be taught magic. So she likes talking about it with Morrigan because Morrigan studies history of every and anybody, really. She collects books. That's where Morrigan really shines and like opens up, and that's where her personality is like not closed off. She's like, oh yeah, let's talk about this. Is where she gets all excited and is like, let me tell you all this stuff I know. And Ariel is just kind of like, I don't understand why this isn't something everybody can do if you study it and you practice it. So while she doesn't know any right now, she's like, I'm pretty sure I can do this. And it's not just an elf thing. From talking to the short time that she's talked to Alistair, and she'll talk to him more, she's, they talk about Templars using things to catch mages, and she's like, that sounds an awful lot like it's magic. But if Templars are not mages, but they're using magic, and this is stuff that they practice and they learn, How is it not like, it doesn't make sense to her. She's just like, this is something everybody can do and everybody can learn, but like, the system is keeping us down. So that's why I don't start out my canon playthrough as a mage, because long story short, she learns magic in the end. So yeah, because she's just like, y'all aren't making any fucking sense. Because why are the Templars basically doing magic while trying to eradicate magic? Like, it does not make any sense. She's like, everybody can do magic. Everybody can learn this. It's just not taught. People aren't told this. It's just a whole lot of, like, secrecy and whispers. And she's just like, no, I think we can all do this. Magic is for everybody. Thank you so much. Okay. So that's my little soapbox moment and kind of explaining some of her story. So let's go on. Next, we met Sten, so let's talk to Sten.
Why are we stopping?
Also, I love Sten. I normally don't use him a lot in my party, but as a character and his voice act, like, I love Sten. Okay. These I'm gonna read because I don't remember how much you get through everything. So, 1, never mind, let's keep moving. 2, I think we should talk for a moment. 3, we're working together. I think I should get to know you. 4, let's just get a few things straight. She's just gonna say, I think we should talk for a moment.
There are Darkspawn to be fought. Is this delay needful?
2, I need to know if I can trust you at my back. 3, are you alright? You were in that cage for weeks. 4, what's your hurry? She's just gonna ask if he's alright.
You are concerned. No need. I am fit enough to fight.
2, I've never seen a Qunari before. Tell me about your people. 3, you said you were in the army. She's curious. She's gonna ask about the Qunari.
No.
Okay then. 2, no, why not? 3, please? 4, I wasn't expecting that. She's gonna say why not.
People are not simple. They cannot be summarized for easy reference in the manner of, the elves are a lithe, pointy-eared people who excel at poverty.
Excuse me. She's... The other 2 are the same choices. The third one is a little hostile, aren't we? She's just gonna be like, okay, moving on. You said you were in the army.
I am.
1, have you ever fought in a war? 2, what made you decide to become a soldier? 3, why would the Qunari send soldiers here? She's gonna say, what made you decide to become a soldier?
Decide. I am a Sten of the Beresad. I did not choose to be who I am any more than you did.
Okay, these are all the same choices. She's gonna ask, since they're in the middle of a blight, which is basically a war, she's gonna say, have you ever fought in a war?
I have always fought in war, elf.
Okay, so you must know your way around a battlefield then.
Some of them. They aren't all alike.
Are you always this bad about answering questions?
Generally. I do not see how this matters. Seheron and Parvolan are distant. Ferelden and the Darkspawn are immediate.
True, let's go. She's just gonna drop it.
As you wish.
He's just very to the point and direct, and she's okay. I get that. Not gonna push it, or not, you know, not gonna... Okay, that's fine. That's how you talk. It's fine. Liliana's next.
Yes?
I'd like to talk.
Well, here I am.
She's gonna say... She wants to ask about the vision. That's the first choice, but she wants to not make it sound like she's judging her or, like, immediately, like, so what's up with you? So she's just gonna ask, what was life like in the Chantry Cloister first?
Quiet. It was a life suited for contemplation. In the cloister, away from the fuss and the flurry of the cities, I found peace. And in that stillness, I could hear the Maker. But it was not perfect. Some of my Chantry fellows were condescending. That is the nature of religious folk, I suppose.
Condescending how?
When I talked about my beliefs, that the Maker reveals himself in the beauty of his world, they treated me with disdain. They want to believe that he's gone, so that when he turns his gaze on them, it means they are special, chosen. He cannot possibly have love for all, the sick and the weary, the beggars and the fools.
Oh, okay. She's gonna say, I prefer your ideas. to the ideas of the Chantry. She thinks that what Liliana's saying is nice, that their maker loves everybody, and he's there for everybody.
Thank you. Maybe I am wrong. But it is the Maker's place to decide if I am worthy, not men, not the Chantry. But there is work to be done, and I have talked enough for now.
Okay, she wants to talk to Liliana some more. She's like, I like that. That sounds nice.
Yes?
I'd like to talk.
Well, here I am.
Now she's gonna ask about this vision of yours.
I knew this would come up sooner or later. I don't know how to explain, but I had a dream. In it, there was an impenetrable darkness. It was so dense, so real. And there was a noise, a terrible, ungodly noise. I stood on a peak and watched as the darkness consumed everything. And when the storm swallowed the last of the sun's light, I fell. And the darkness drew me in.
And what then?
When I woke, I went to the Chantry's gardens, as I always do. But that day, the rose bush in the corner had flowered. Everyone knew that bush was dead. It was grey and twisted and gnarled, the ugliest thing you ever saw. But there it was, a single beautiful rose. It was as though the Maker stretched out his hand to say, even in the midst of this darkness, there is hope and beauty. Have faith.
1, that's just wishful thinking, Liliana. 2, and this made you want to help me? 3, did you hear voices? 4, I don't need your maker interfering with my life. She's just gonna say, and this made you want to help me?
In my dream, I fell. Or maybe I jumped. I'd do anything to stop the Blight. I know that we can do it. There are so many good things in the Maker's world. How can I sit by while the Blight devours everything?
I suppose I couldn't sit by either. I don't really like any of these choices. Let me read them all. 1, the Chantry says the Maker left us. 2, the Blight is the Maker's punishment. Will you defy him? 3, I suppose I couldn't sit by either. So, the Chantry says the Maker has left us. She's not part of the Chantry, so she wouldn't say he left. She wouldn't say that. 2, she wouldn't say this either because she doesn't believe that it's punishment. And 3, she didn't really have a choice. I suppose I couldn't sit by either. She didn't have a choice, but that's what the one she's gonna say, because the other 2 are too tied up in the Chantry, and that's not her religion, so she's just gonna say I couldn't sit by either.
That is why you're a Grey Warden. Come, there's a Blight to stop.
Okay, we got 2 more points of approval from Liliana. Now, where's Barkspawn? There he is. Okay, let's go.
Oh, why, you little...
1, what? 2, did you just jump at the sight of your own shadow again? 3, are you harassing my dog? She's gonna say, are you harassing my dog?
Me? Harassing your dog? I should say it's the other way round. Your furry friend here took offense at me getting near his food. He snapped at me, look.
1, there's hardly any blood drawn. Still, he shouldn't have. 2, it was just a warning. He could have taken a hand off. 3, good boy, teach that silly Alistair a lesson. 4, bad dog, that's not very nice. 5, Will, he is a war dog. He's gonna say, good boy, teach that silly Alistair a lesson. Growls angrily at Alistair.
Sometimes I forget that he's a war dog. That'll teach me.
Okay. Pat Barkspawn's head. Okay, we can give Barkspawn Mabari Crunch. So let's do that. See, we just do this. Like it's the same thing we do with the potions and stuff. You just put it down here. And then let me see if I have a better collar for him or not. Here we go. No, I thought I had a collar, maybe. I'm obviously mistaken. Okay. Let's talk to Alistair one more time.
What do you need?
I'd like to ask you something.
Ask away.
Okay. we're gonna do Redcliffe first, so let's go ahead. And so you said this Arl Aemon raised you.
Oh, did I say that? I meant that dogs raised me. Giant slobbering dogs from the Anderfells. A whole pack of them, in fact.
That would explain the smell.
Well, it wasn't until I was 8 that I discovered you didn't have to lick yourself clean. Old habits die hard, you know.
That would explain the breath as well, then.
And my table manners, too. Though, come to think of it, they weren't all that different from the other Templars. Or did I dream all of that? Funny the dreams you'll have when you sleep on the cold, hard ground, isn't it? Are you having strange dreams?
Only ones where the world is threatened by Darkspawn.
Point taken. Let's see, how do I explain this? I'm a bastard. And before you make any smart comments, I mean the fatherless kind. My mother was a serving girl in Redcliffe Castle who died when I was very young. Arl Aemon wasn't my father, but he took me in anyhow and put a roof over my head. He was good to me, and he didn't have to be. I respect the man, and I don't blame him anymore for sending me off to the Chantry once I was old enough.
Why did he send you off to the Chantry?
Arl Aemon eventually married a young woman from Orlais, which caused all sorts of problems between him and the king because it was so soon after the war. But he loved her. Anyhow, then you, Arlessa, resented the rumors which pegged me as his bastard. They weren't true, but of course they existed. The Arl didn't care, but she did. So off I was packed to the nearest monastery at age 10, just as well. The Arlessa made sure the castle wasn't a home to me by that point. She despised me.
1, you were probably luckier than most orphans. 2, wasn't it inappropriate for the Arl to raise an orphan? 3, what an awful thing to do to a child. 4, that sounds like a bunch of whining. So basically, he was a bastard orphan. The Arl took him in. Then the Arl got remarried. The wife was angry because she thought everybody was thinking that it was the Arl's bastard orphan child. Well, not orphan, but bastard child. So then he got sent to a monastery at 10 after this woman had made his life a living hell and he had been sleeping out in the barn with the dogs and was miserable. So she's just like, okay, you're more well-adjusted than you should be. And this is why he's like not always great at socializing with people. So she's like, these are the kind of conversations where she's like, okay, things are falling into place. Whereas like with Morrigan, it's more obvious of like, okay, she's a witch living in the woods with just her and her mother and like staying away from people, so you can see why she is the way she is. But with Alistair, he just looks like a normal person, so you think he's a normal person, and you're like unpeeling these layers of an onion that are like, oh, you've got a lot of baggage and lots of things. You were not always, you were not always treated well, were you? And then to go from like neglect as a child to being put in with like religious people, and then he's gone from like one crazy thing to another. So anyway, she's gonna say, what an awful thing to do to a child.
Maybe. She felt threatened by my presence, I can see that now. I can't say I blame her. She wondered if the rumors were true herself, I bet. I remember I had an amulet with Andraste's holy symbol on it. The only thing I had of my mother's. I was so furious at being sent away, I tore it off and threw it at the wall and it shattered. Stupid, stupid thing to do. The Arl came by the monastery a few times to see how I was, but I was stubborn. I hated it there, and blamed him for everything. And eventually, he just stopped coming.
She's gonna say you were young because she can tell he blames himself for a lot of stuff.
And raised my dogs. Or I may as well have been, the way I acted. But maybe all young bastards act like that. I don't know. All I know is that the Arl is a good man, and well loved by the people. He also was King Caelan's uncle, so he has a personal motivation to see Loghain pay for what he did. Anyway, that's really all there is to the story.
We got more 4 plus approval from Alistair. So basically she's like, okay, well, I'm an orphan, but I was lucky because the Dalish really have like a communal way of living. So she had this whole village essentially raising her. She was never alone. She always had friends and other people to play with and kids to talk to, that nobody was leaving her out in a barn to fend for herself, you know? And he did not have any of that. He was really looked down upon and treated really badly. And it's just, she just feels bad because she's like, how could somebody do that to a kid? Like adults just let this happen, when for a Dalish clan that would not, people would not just turn their back on a child like that. So she just really feels bad because she's like, God bless, like what is their deal? Okay, let me check. Okay, we got 20 minutes more I want to do on this because I think we will start with Redcliffe after all. I was thinking we would do the Bristolian Forest first, but I remember more about that, and we're just gonna get Redcliffe over with, so we need to keep
What do you
talking.
need? Ask away.
Alright, so what can a Templar, so the next, she's going kind of in order. So she asked about the Arl, that was his childhood, and then the next thing they did was ship him off to the monastery, so that's where he becomes a Templar. So she's gonna say, what can a Templar do exactly?
Essentially, they're trained to fight. The Chantry would tell you that the Templars exist simply to defend. But don't let them fool you. They're an army. The other main purpose for a Templar is, of course, to hunt mages. To that end, we train in talents that drain mana and disrupt spells.
1. So couldn't others learn these talents? 2. So Templars use magic themselves. 3. Have you hunted many mages? 4. Seems like the Templars could run the Chantry. So first of all, she's like, so couldn't others learn these talents?
Perhaps, but there usually isn't much of an opportunity. The Chantry keeps a close rein on its Templars. We are given lyrium to help develop our magical talents, you see. Which means we become addicted. And since the Chantry controls the lyrium trade with the dwarves, well, I'm sure you can put 2 and 2 together.
1. So you were addicted to this lyrium? 2. That's horrible. I can't believe they would do that. 3. Sounds like an excellent method of control. She's pretty much thinking all of these at once, but she's like, that doesn't sound right. Because other, like, mages are doing magic without lyrium. What does lyrium have to do with anything? So she's like, that sounds like control.
You think so, huh? You don't need lyrium in order to learn the Templar talents. Lyrium just
Exactly.
makes Templars' talents more effective. Or so I was told. Maybe it doesn't even do that. The Chantry usually doesn't let their Templars get away either, so they can spread their secrets. I'm a bit of an exception. Lucky me.
Yeah, see, Alistair disapproves -10. I forgot that does happen.
What do you need?
So, yeah, she's just like,
Ask away.
this doesn't make sense. Can you teach others to be a Templar? I thought there was a
I
different...
suppose I could. But I really would rather not. When the Grand Cleric let Duncan recruit me, she made me swear never to reveal Templar secrets outside of the Chantry. I'd rather not go back on my word.
I'll respect your word.
Ask me later, perhaps. Maybe I'll change my mind. This is not something small you're asking, after all.
Okay, she's not trying to become a Templar. She was trying to get back to the, like,
What do you need?
you're using magic on people.
Ask away.
Like, why have you remained a Templar if you hate the Chantry?
Have you seen the uniform? It's not only stylish, but well made. I'm a sucker for good tailoring.
Oh, I don't think I've ever seen you wearing it.
I keep it hidden under my pillow. Sometimes I'll take it out just so I can hug it fondly and remember the good old days. Brings a tear to the eyes, you know.
And what's the real reason?
You don't really want to know about my being a Templar, do you? It's really quite boring.
I do really want to know, yes.
Poke, poke, poke. Tell me everything about your life, Alistair. All right, if you insist. It's not like we have anything better to do, right? The truth of the matter is that I did hate going to the monastery. The initiates from poor families thought I put on airs, while the noble ones called me a bastard and ignored me. I felt like Al Eamon had cast me off, unwanted, and I was determined to be bitter. But I took some solace in the training itself, I guess. I was actually quite good at it.
What did you enjoy about the training?
The education, mostly, but also the discipline. You need to have a disciplined mind in order to use the abilities we have. It was difficult, but rewarding. I never really felt at home anywhere, though, until I joined the Grey Wardens. And Duncan felt my Templar abilities might be useful for when we encountered Darkspawn magic, so I kept it up. What about you? Do you have anywhere you consider home?
1. Not anymore, no. 2. Anywhere my clan goes is my home. 3. I guess my home is with the Grey Wardens now, with you. 4. Home is wherever camp is. We're travelers now. She's... like, it's with you and the Grey Wardens now, I guess.
It is. I didn't know you felt that way. We won't always be traveling like this, you know. Once the war is over, once the Blight is... well, a time will come when we'll have to think about having a real home again. Though that seems like a far ways off. And I suppose the Grey Wardens are gone for good. Either way.
They can be rebuilt.
I suppose you're right. We can create new Grey Wardens, but we'll never get back those we lost. I wonder if it would ever feel the same. Anyhow, now I've sidetracked us. We'd better get back to what we're supposed to be doing right now.
Let's keep talking to him.
What do you need?
I'd like to ask you something.
Ask away.
Tell me about the Grey Wardens.
Such as they are.
Okay. We're not gonna go through every single one of these just yet, but eventually you will. Let me see here. Is there a headquarters?
Here in Ferelden, there's our compound in Denerim at the palace, but that's it. Loghain will have control over that and be watching it, no doubt. Beyond that, the only place I know of is Weishaupt Fortress. That's the headquarters of all Grey Wardens in the Anderfelds, 1,000 miles from here. But I've no idea how to even contact them. So unless we try to get back to the compound in Denerim, I suppose the answer is no. There's nowhere for us to go.
Will we need to start rebuilding the Order?
I mean, eventually we would have to use the joining to make more Grey Wardens, right? But I don't know how to do the joining, or what's involved. I know it involves lyrium and some other magic, and that it's really difficult to prepare, but that's it. Unless we can find out more about the joining, I guess we better get used to the idea that there might only be 2 of us for now. Until more come from elsewhere.
I have no more questions.
About the Grey Wardens, anyhow. Fair enough. What do you need? Ask away.
And then, so how did you become a Grey Warden?
Same way you did. You drink some blood, you choke on it, and pass out. You haven't forgotten already, have you?
I mean, before that.
Let's see, I was in the Chantry before. I trained for many years to become a Templar, in fact. That's where I learned most of my skills.
You don't seem like the religious sort.
You're telling me I was banished to the kitchens to scour the pots more times than I can count. And that's a lot. I can count pretty high. The Grand Cleric didn't want to let me go. Duncan was forced to conscript me, actually, and was she ever furious when he did. I thought she was going to have us both arrested. I was lucky.
You think this is better than being a Templar?
Oh, I suppose the Chantry life is good enough for some. Here, we have the chance to fight against the Blight. To actually do some good instead of sitting in a temple somewhere. I'll always be thankful to Duncan for recruiting me. If it hadn't been for him, you know, I wouldn't have.
I'm sorry.
No, it's... I'm sorry. I shouldn't be... It's fine. He died a hero. They all did. Come on, let's go. I think I'm done talking.
Okay. Now that I've made him upset, let's give him a gift. Where is the gifts? Gifts. Nope. Duh, wrong person. Nope, that's the wrong thing too. That goes to... Here we go. Grey Warden hand puppet. Okay, let me read what this says for you guys. This tin helmeted puppet is painted with the blue and gray heraldry of the Grey Wardens. Gonna do that.
I could get used to this, you know.
And we got plus 50. Alistair approves plus 50. And it upped his constitution. So, hopefully that answered some questions as to who Alistair is and gave some insight into, I don't know, everybody's relationships in general that's in our party right now. But she really likes Alistair a lot because they've both been through a lot of crap, and they have very different backgrounds, but she likes his sense of humor, and she likes that they can talk about serious stuff or they can joke around. She just wants him to be okay, and she likes Morgan, even though Morgan is very abrasive. The same kind of thing. She sees that Morgan has been through a lot of stuff, but Morgan has a good heart, she thinks. Liliana is obviously Liliana is a sweetheart, like, through and through, so she loves Liliana immediately. Sten, she's just like, okay, well, you're gonna help us, and she likes him, but she's just like, okay, he clearly is not gonna be over here kumbaya-ing by the campfire. She's just giving him space right now. Alright, let's go to the world map. And this is... Oh, shoot, I forgot to check the
Yes.
thing to keep Barkspawn with us. Okay, so this is all the places we can go, basically. So... Plymouth's Hut, Redcliffe, Soldier's Pass, Frostback Mountains, Banlorn's Forth. Okay, so the first little trip, we go... Oh shoot, no, we have to go to Denerim first. I forget... let's go to Denerim. I'm trying to remember parts of the story. We're not going to play this for much longer, because that was a lot of transcriptions I know I'm going to have to do. Let's go check this out.
Something on your mind? Of course.
Is this all the same? No, this is starting to get different. What changes about you after the joining?
You mean other than becoming a Grey Warden?
I mean, what changes physically?
You know, I asked Duncan this too, and all I got was, "You'll see."
He wouldn't tell you?
Oh, it's not that Duncan wants to keep it a secret. It's just that the Grey Wardens don't discuss it much. I gather it's not a pleasant topic. The first change I noticed was an increase in appetite. I used to get up in the middle of the night and raid the castle larder. I thought I was starving. I'd slurp down every dinner like it was my last. My face all covered in gravy. When I'd look up, the other Grey Wardens would stare, then laugh themselves to tears.
I haven't felt anything like that.
Really? Because I was watching you wolf down food the other day, and I thought, ooh, it's a good thing she gets a lot of exercise.
Are you calling me a pig?
Not at all. I've never seen a pig eat like that. Ever. I jest, don't kill me. Oh, and then there were the nightmares. Duncan said it was part of how we sense the Darkspawn. We tap into their, well, I don't know what you call it, their group mind. And when we sleep, it's even worse. You learn to block it out after a while, but at first it's hard. It's supposed to be worse for those who join during a blight. How is it for you?
Nightmares, yes, I know what you mean.
Some people never have much trouble, but that's rare. Others have trouble sleeping their entire life. They're just more sensitive, I suppose. Everyone ends up the same, though. Once you reach a certain age, the real nightmares come. That's how a Grey Warden knows his time has come.
1, what are you talking about? 2, his time has come? 3, bad news, I take it? Spit it out. She's gonna say his time has come?
Oh, that's right. We never had time to tell you that part, did we? Well, in addition to all the other wonderful things about being a Grey Warden, you don't need to worry about dying from old age. You've got 30 years to live, give or take. The Taint. It's a death sentence. Ultimately, your body won't be able to take it. When the time comes, most Grey Wardens go to Orzammar and die in battle rather than waiting. It's tradition.
1, how cheery. 2, why Orzammar? 3, so I'm going to die. She already suspected something was up when she didn't see a lot of old people being Grey Wardens, so she's just gonna say, why Orzammar?
You'll always find Darkspawn down where the dwarves are. The oldest Grey Wardens head to the deep roads for one last glorious battle. Not that there's a shortage of Darkspawn during a blight, but that's the tradition. The dwarves respect us for it. And you wondered why we kept the joining a secret from the new recruits. There you have it.
1, it seems a high price to pay. 2, I never wondered that. I understand. 3, I feel betrayed. This is wrong. She's gonna say, it seems a high price to pay.
I suppose it is. We're the only ones who can stop the Blight, however. Is there a price too high to pay for that? You know, Duncan... he started having the nightmares again. He told me that in private. He said it wouldn't be long before he'd go to Orzammar himself. I guess he got what he wanted. I just wish it had been something worthy of him.
1, if this is all we have to look forward to. 2, he got what he deserved. 3, he will be remembered, Alistair, as will the others. That's what she's gonna say. He'll be remembered.
I know. Ending the Blight should make this all worthwhile, right?
Okay. This is... oh gosh.
As there is but one world, one life, one death, there is but one God, and He is our Maker. They are sinners who have given their love to false gods.
Oh, calm down.
Mention of dessert? Surely this is a miracle.
Okay, we're gonna stop it there, because anything else I do is gonna, like, kick off another long quest that I'm just gonna have to stop in the middle of, and it's gonna be awkward. So let's just stop there. I hope this episode was okay. It was a lot of just character and story building. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. And I will see you guys next time. Thank you for sticking around. Bye!